Hey everyone, this is Heather Havenwood and welcome to Like a Boss, insights with influencers and entrepreneurs and badasses like you. Woo! Okay, so today I'm here in Austin, Texas, and it's really hot out. And today I was sharing with our guests earlier in the green room that right next door to me, literally, I woke up this morning to jackhammers. That's amazing. With the parking lot, they're redoing our parking lot, like the entire thing, even the awnings. I live downtown in a gorgeous building that was built in the 80s in downtown Austin, and they're redoing everything. And I really woke up to literally at 7:01 this morning. So it's been a fabulous morning. That's why I have my coffee here in my sassy cup. But today's about happiness. It's all about happiness. That's why we have the happiness coach with Jennifer. I'm so excited that you're here. Hey, Jennifer.
How are you? I'm so glad to be here.
You're my happiness coach today.
Your stories just like made me laugh this morning. It's already made my day.
I'm like, thank God I have a happiness coach. That's awesome. It's because I'm not happy. Do people say like, Jennifer, I'm not happy. Make me happy. Damn it. Do they do?
Well, laughter is a key. That's a good one.
Right? Yeah. What do you do? Like get mad at the guys at 7:01 in the morning? They're doing their job.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. No doubt. It's nothing worse than when you start your morning and it's already like,
yeah, right. It's like, it's 100 degrees outside. So the guys want to get started. You know what I mean? I get it. Like they're like, let's get started before it gets 101 degrees. Okay. So you're a happiness coach here. So let's just talk about who you are. Read your bio a little bit. A time, money, and happiness business coach. Jennifer helps driven professionals learn how to grow and scale their profitable business into a lifestyle they love. Her coaching programs are rooted in her information technology background. She's a huge believer in automation, habits, repeatable processes, and streamlining time to reduce overwhelm so you can focus on what matters most. She teaches her clients to find more time, make more money, and increase their happiness. Welcome. So I'm laughing because also in the green room, I told her, just a second. She's probably thinking I'm going to the bathroom. No, I'm running to get something really important that makes me happy. It's called coffee. Coffee makes me happy. If I'm going to be talking to a happiness coach, I better have a lot of Joe.
That's right. I made sure to fill my cup and heat it up right before we started.
Right. I'm like, oh God, she's going to be a happy one. God, you're one of those people. Like, I'm not one of those people. Like, are you one of those, like, you're always happy girls?
I'm pretty happy.
Yeah.
I am one of those pretty happy people. I live out in the middle of nowhere. So I'm a morning person. We live on a 5-acre chicken farm. So I get up when they, roosters crow, as they will, literally.
Right. No jackhammers, but roosters crow. Right.
Yeah. Wow. So I love where I live. So it makes for a pretty easy, balanced, happy life.
Nice. I hate you. I'm nice. We love you. Just kidding. Yeah. I mean, seriously, I don't believe in, so I'm going to push back on some things today. We're going to be talking about 3 things that you can, ways you can get more done, make more money. But honestly, I will push back on this. I'm a city girl for sure. Okay. I kind of I thought about doing a book called Balance is Bullshit, but I think a friend of mine actually did it before
me. The title before you. So I'm gonna disagree because I think balance is possible. It's just that most people think balance means equal. So my definition of balance is not the same definition of your balance. So when I talk to people about, I love what I do. So, and I've, for the most part of my life, I've called myself a workaholic because I just love what I do. But that doesn't mean that I don't incorporate self-care into my life. I just incorporate it in little spurts, and I don't need as much of it as other people. So when people think balance, they think, well, I have to have, 8 hours here and 8 hours here, or, like 4 hours at home in the evening with the kids. And it's everyone has their own definition of balance for what they need to rejuvenate.
Okay. Got it. Yeah. So I need spas every day.
I get my massage. I try to get a massage at least every other week.
Good. That's not bad. Yeah. I had one this weekend. I do take baths now. That's my thing. Like, that's my way to self-care.
That's nice.
I definitely take baths. I take Epsom salt baths at night. I used to not. I used to be like shower, whatever. And now I'm like, just taking the bath is just takes a whole nother level of just relaxation, and I sleep better. And, I think it definitely does help me. So that's my elevation of self-care. And I work out a lot. And I live in Barton Springs, where you can dive into this cold water and it feels amazing, which I should have
Awesome. I don't know if I'd like that, but awesome.
I know. It wakes you up. You're like, woo, I'm awake. 7:00 in the morning. It's really good for inflammation. So, okay, let's talk about this. So what exactly do you do for your clients? I mean, do you actually do technology systems? What are you, just a life coach? Tell me more exactly what you do.
No, so I'm not a life coach. And I know that a lot of people would like me to be, because exactly what I teach is very beneficial. In fact, one of my stories that leads me into kind of one of the first things to make sure you're getting more done in less time is this concept of embracing your brilliance, like your sweet spot. What are you really good at? And one of those things is I also like teach people how to be happier in 5 minutes a day or less. And which is a great concept, right? I mean, everybody wants to inject a little bit of happiness every day and run it on autopilot. But my lesson learned very early on in my online entrepreneurial career was that I was attracting the wrong clients. So, because my company, as my URL still says, is Happiness Matters, but I had to do this changeover, this branding change to time and Happiness Matters. Because what I do is I work with my clients to look at what they're doing in their business and what they're not liking in their business, and how can they actually get more done in less time.
Yeah.
And still make more money. One of my clients, for example, she used to pull her laptop from the floor of her bed in the morning at like 6 a.m. to start putting out fires right away, working like, pushing 80 hours a week. And then we went in, we dove in, we started looking at what is her brilliance? What does she really like to be doing? What are the types of clients that she really likes to work with? And we were able to get her down to 30 hours a week, still making the same amount of money when she was working 80 hours a week.
Nice. That's awesome. So it's really about systems and structures, like you're putting this.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's also about talking about your brilliance. I'm going to push up against this a little bit with you, but I agree with that concept. And it's easy to do when you are a person inside of a company. It's really easy to be like, stay in my lane, stay in my brilliance.
Yeah.
When you are an entrepreneur, you're like, that's interesting. That's not even feasible, because I'm dealing with technology, understanding technology. I'm dealing with clients maybe on a strategic level or at a creative level. I'm dealing with email marketing and writing copies maybe if I have to. Like you're dealing with so many parts of the brain that I know myself, I forget, like, what the hell am I good at? Because I've been doing so much for so long that I really can't get into my brilliance. So how do you attack that?
So I do, I 100% agree with you in that sense, because when you are an entrepreneur, especially when you are, you don't have a team, let's assume you don't have a team of people,
right.
It's really, I mean, at some point you just have to do almost everything, right? And it doesn't matter whether you like it or not, it's still stuff that sometimes has to get done. But the point of understanding and really honing in on what is it that you really love doing and what is it that you are really good at is to ensure that as you're building your business, you take the steps necessary that when the time comes that you can start having the systems and the processes in place to offload the stuff you don't want to do first.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it's a matter of understanding that in order to hire that first VA, even if it's 5 hours a week, you have to be able to articulate to that VA exactly what you want them to do. So for example, being able to write a standard operating procedure and being able to shift that workload over so that you know exactly what it is that you don't want to do anymore.
That's really hard to do for someone like myself who's a creative. That, I mean, I've heard that before. That's not something I haven't heard before. I read the book Work the System. It's a brilliant book. And I love that, but I'm just not a sit down kind of person to do that, because in my brain, I just do it. So I don't even know all the different steps to do it. Is there a way to get around that? Is there a way that I can just buy that? Is there a way? I mean, you told me to write down. Yeah, you were tell me to write down a standard operating procedure. I'm like, oh, look at that squirrel. That fascinating squirrel. I'm just going to stare.
Well, so yes, that does happen. And so in fact, I had a call with one of my clients last week, and we went through Everything, she has a team of people. She's not a solo entrepreneur. And even to scale, to that next level, she's needing to be able to offload things that some of her teammates are doing to yet another layer of team members. Yeah. So we went through everything that she does in her business, everything that her two primary, teammates at the moment are doing, and we wrote down the list of everything that we possibly could write an SOP about. So that way it's, and then she's going to hire someone who is just going to, whether it be she's going to start dictating as she's doing, like just turning on a recorder, like Rev, for example, as you're doing stuff, to record what it is that you're doing, talk through it as you're doing it. Another recommendation that I gave her is Loom, for example. Loom video is great.
It's awesome. Yeah, I use it all the time.
So, and that's another way when, like, for example, I mean, I'm still in many ways a bottleneck in my own business. So when I'm getting ready to want to offload something that I know that I shouldn't be doing, like you kind of, as you're growing and scaling your business, you kind of know that you're aware of those tasks that when you're doing them, you're like, I shouldn't be doing this. So turning on Loom video and just recording what it is that I'm doing, because I am pretty tech savvy myself with my IT background. Mm-hmm. And that's probably one of the last pieces that, I've given up control over. So even I have to turn on the video and I just have to start doing. And then I say, okay, go make this pretty, go make this into a standard operating procedure. Because whether it be, that person's going to do it, probably not going to be forever, because people leave and people move on, but you want to have it documented. So your teammates are the best people to actually write the SOPs.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah. So here, do this. And by the way, I need you to
write it up.
But that's a good idea. So so do you really just work with the mindset of the individual, or do you actually do the implementation for them?
I have both. So I have, I work with clients like in a group capacity where it's more of the mindset, the strategy, how to, even from early on. I mean, I really wish I could get my hands on those entrepreneurs that are just starting. Of course, like you said, they don't know what they don't know. And so usually I get them when they're kind of getting to the point where they want to start getting to that first, hiring that first person. And so that's when they're ready. I, of course, have implementation levels for VIP clients. And then I also...
Why would you say that? Why would you say you want to get them right when they start? Tell me more about that.
Because I think there's so much that if you took just even that extra little bit of time at the very beginning, mm-hmm. As you are doing the steps and as you're growing the business, that you can emulate that faster. So for example, one of the first things that I tell almost any client that I work with is, do you even know what you do in your day? Most people don't. So how can you improve the efficiency of what you think you aren't getting done if you don't even know how you're spending your time? So I know it's like one of those really tedious, in fact, it's one of the like how to get more done in less time things, is you need to track your day. And it's so unsexy. It is like, I have to drag, and it's like pulling teeth.
It is.
But, when people, for example, I mean, at least for me, and this is the analogy that I give, is that when people go on a diet, when you track your food, you are more apt to lose weight. And it works for me. Maybe that doesn't work for everybody, but that's the analogy that I like to give, is because when you can see it in front of you, then oh, well, that's why I didn't, get that out today, or I didn't get that, guest blog post article written today, or, X, Y, and Z done, is because I spent all that time doing these other things. Yeah. And so that's one of the first things I usually have people do, is start tracking their time. So as an early entrepreneur, if you can start to see how you're spending your time, then if they were to come into, for example, my group program, then that's where we can start analyzing, well, this is how we can speed that up. So for example, I'm a Tiny Habits certified coach. And one piece of that is learning how to habit stack. So creating habits in order to get more done is another little trick, if you will.
So what do you mean by that? Say that again.
So when
habit stacking. I've never heard of that. I've never heard of habit stacking.
Yeah. So when you take one habit and you stack it on top of another habit, you create a routine. And so inevitably when I ask people, do you have a morning routine? Most people, like when I'm speaking live, all the hands go up. And then I ask them if they have an evening routine, and most of the hands stay up. But then I start asking about business routines, and the hands start coming down. So do you have a business startup? Do you have a business close down? What about a cash injection routine? Like, do you like understand that in order to make money, you actually have to make offers?
Yeah.
So, we start getting into those kind of things. But when you start habit stacking and creating routines, what that does is it allows you to run on autopilot. Because when you have a routine, like, and I'm going to date myself here, when you have the routine, as an example of, say, turning off a curling iron or a coffee pot that you used to have to manually turn off before they had the auto turn off ones.
Yeah.
Or like when you drive away and you close your garage, you push the button to close your garage door. And then you drive back and you think, oh man, I didn't close the door. I didn't turn off the coffee pot. And you drive back and you did it. And you did it because it was automated. It was part of your process. So when you can start creating these habits and stacking these habits and creating, say, a business startup routine, what that does is you run on autopilot and you just do it. And what that allows you to do is to free up the brain power that you need, because there's a limited amount of brain power every day.
Yeah.
I firmly believe that. You hit that wall and you are just done. And if you can free up the brain power by conserving it, by having more routines, you are more productive in the non-routine times of the day. When you need to be creative, when you need to be writing, when you need to just really use whatever capacity you have is in that non-routine time. So the more that you can put into routines, the better, and you can be more productive.
Got it. Okay, got it. So give us an example of like a good morning routine.
Sure. Like a business, are you talking about the business startup or like a personal routine?
Like, let's just do a personal routine.
So, for example, I had a client who, I know this seems like such a simple little habit to try and incorporate into a morning routine. She just wanted to get better at taking her supplements, like her vitamins, and she just couldn't make it happen. So we go through the process of identifying, well, what are you currently doing? So again, this comes back to tracking your day. What are you currently doing in your morning routine? So we get to the point where we realize that she had the supplements in the bathroom, but by the time she remembered to take them, she's out the door. So we analyze that she makes coffee every day. I mean, who doesn't? We love
my
coffee.
Supplements are by my coffee.
Right? So
right. It's like, make the coffee, there's supplements.
Yes, exactly. So just even the slight change of moving the location of something can improve the stickiness of a habit.
Oh, so, for sure.
Absolutely. So just identifying those types of things is what allows you to create more things in your routine.
Yeah, something simple like that. I mean, I understand that one. By the way, I just have to say, I've never understood people that put supplements in the bathroom. That makes no sense. If you're eating it and digesting it, it's in the kitchen. I never got that. People are like, oh, go get my pill. It's in the bathroom. I'm like, why the hell is it in the bathroom? You know what I mean? Like, what? I mean, all my, pills and supplements and,
we have a stack of them right next to the coffee pot.
There's a whole section of ibuprofen, what I call the stuff for sick stuff. And then there's stuff I have a whole thing for all the supplements for healthy stuff. I'm a huge health freak. So I have probiotics. There's like 3 shelves, but it's all in the kitchen because that's where I eat.
Stuff, absolutely.
Right? Like, bathroom is like hair and other things, and I'm not thinking about what am I feeling in my body today? What's going on? What's my routine on my supplements this week? So that's just common sense. Come on. No, I'm
right.
kidding.
I agree. 100%.
I'm kidding. I don't know where that come from. It's one of those, it's that old habits are interesting because there's an old story about a woman who, talks about how she used to take a ham and like cut it in half, and this whole section she used to throw it out. People say, why you do that? Like, well, my great grandmother did, my grandmother did, and I do. Like, yeah, but you can actually use that. Here's how all these different ways you can use it. It's actually good. They find out back in the day, you had to throw it out for other reasons, sanitary reasons or whatever. And it's just that whole concept is that another one that got passed down from my mother. I got stopped on this habit, but it got passed from my great grandmother, I think, or something. It's the weirdest habit. You're going to laugh about it. She put her coffee in the freezer. Okay. And
Oh, the coffee beans?
yeah, the coffee grinds actually in the freezer. Now, listening to this show, someone's going to say, yeah, I do that. What's the problem?
I've heard of that.
Okay, walk into Starbucks. I do not see any freezers anywhere.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure there's going to be people who are going to say that it keeps it fresher. I have no idea.
It doesn't. No. I'm so going to take this one on for a second as a habit that got passed on by the wrong human being. I used to work for Starbucks for about 4 months of my life. And one of the things I learned, they take you, this is back in the day, they don't do this anymore. They take you through coffee school, you know? And I literally was in the little instruction, you know, thing. And I'm like, coffee master, my mother puts coffee in the refrigerator. And why? He's like, no, that's horrible. It takes the beans and it makes them constrictive. And so when you put hot water on a cold bean, it's not good. It doesn't have the good flavor and it's horrible for the bean. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense. That's like, you know, sense. So I called my mother, you're supposed to take them out. Why do you put them in the freezer? She's been doing this for like 50 years of her life, you know? And she's like, that's what my mother did. That's what I'm doing. I'm like, I'm telling you, Mom, it's not good for the coffee. You want better coffee? She's like, whatever, you know. So I'm laughing because it's like simple things like that get passed on. Habits get passed on, I think. Yeah. You know, little things like that. Like I'm sure someone told her, you should put the supplements in the bathroom.
Absolutely. I don't know why. Or maybe it's because people think the kitchen area is too public. I don't know.
That's true. If you have things that are private, I understand that one. But okay, cool. So let's keep going. What are some of the ways that people can really hacks? You know, give us some more hacks.
So in addition to just tracking your day so that you know how you're spending your time, learning that the more that you can create into habits allows you to be more productive with your brain. And then the third thing is creating a plan. Now, this is a good one because I think there's a lot of people who think they create plans, but they don't really realize that their plans suck.
Plans suck. Hashtag your plan sucks. That's good. I like that. We'll do hashtag plan sucks.
You know, if you don't make a plan that is going to actually be implementable or actionable, then it's not a plan. If you can't take one step like each day towards that plan. And this is again coming from, you know, like being in, you know, $1 million projects, $1 billion projects in who I work with in my IT companies. You know, you have to be able to resource load a project, a plan, so that people can take action on it every day. And this is a big stopping point for people because they make a plan and it might be like, oh yeah, I have to write the copy for this launch. Well, that sure feels like heavy and big and I'm never going to get to that today.
Right. Yeah.
So true. Then that just leads to procrastination and frustration and it just is not a recipe for success. So when you start thinking about planning, it has to be broken down to, you know, and I know people talk about time boxing and you know, work on a certain task for 30 minutes or 45 minutes or 90 minutes. Yeah, I mean, and I understand, and I kind of, you know, I work with my clients who aren't really well versed in just being focused for any length of time to do time boxing.
Yeah,
it really is a matter of being able to take, you know, the priority, and that's another one. Don't get me started. Is people don't know how to prioritize.
They don't. What would you say about that? What's the deal with that? Why? I mean, first of all, what are you finding people really prioritizing, and where are they getting it wrong?
So first off, I think people don't, I mean, I am just, you know, and I guess this is something you were talking about earlier, how when you start to do something and you're just really proficient, you just do it and you don't know how to articulate it, you know, to have someone else do it. So I've tried to figure out how I prioritize because I just look at my, you know, I start with the list of whatever I'm going to get that needs to get done. And I can just look at it and I'll be like that, and I'm going to do that. And so of course, you know, there's always time sensitivity, right? So if there's something that has a deadline, you have to be cognizant of deadlines. So I think that's probably, I would recommend as maybe step one. This is really good for me because I've never really pulled this out of myself.
Oh, here we go. We're recording, so we can use this for something.
So yeah, so I would look at
prioritize. Go ahead. I mean, this is a really interesting piece, right? Because I'm just for a second, because I think prioritization is personal. You know,
it is.
Things that are big items. There's monetization. There's deadlines. There's what other people want you to do. There's how do you and then there's what I call the guilt prioritization. And the guilt is the family.
Right? Oh yeah.
Right.
Like you have company coming and you need to
mom called, sister, guilt. So
I like that phrase. I'm going to use that, guilt prioritization.
It is guilt prioritization. It's like, that it's not quote unquote important, but it's quote unquote someone's going to throw you some guilt down the pipe.
Right. Yeah.
You're like, well, I don't want to deal with that. I'm so afraid of guilt, so afraid of shame, so afraid of that people go towards it. So tell me, go down your list. How do you?
Yeah. So, I think, part of it is you've seen that little 4-square box where, like, this is urgent, this is important, this is like other people's important things, and these are things that you should never do, or I can't remember who created that and what it's called.
Some dude.
Some dude. I think it was some dude. So, I mean, the whole point of that 4-square is that you don't want to spend all of your time like feeling like everything's urgent, because then that's just adding stress and worry.
Yeah.
And that's why I think I look at things that have a deadline, and because I need to be cognizant of what that is when I'm prioritizing, whether it be my week or the month, or, for the planning ahead part of it. So when things have a deadline, but then a prioritization, I make the standing daily recommendation with my clients is to do at least one thing every day that is a cash injection, meaning having, even if it's just one single conversation with someone where that you could serve them and help them and potentially, have that conversation where you could make an offer. So do something every day that is revenue generating. Do something every day that is visibility generating. And do something every, at least, and again, this could be depending on where you're at the point in business, but whether it be weekly or monthly, to grow your reach. And so what I mean by that is when people are getting out there and they're first starting, and I get this question a lot, is like, because I'm a big proponent of email list building and email marketing, is I don't have a list. So how can I grow a list? Well, you have to get on it. So, I help people figure out, what would serve them best as like their initial funnel or their initial lead magnet, as an example, in order to start getting out there. And once they have that, offer it up to one person that that could use it every day, especially when you're first starting. Once you get past that, it's a matter of like, how can you participate in joint ventures? How can you participate in, like this, like an interview? How can you get out there and increase it? And how are you making that something that you're doing every day? So I look at it from a cash flow perspective and a client flow perspective, something that I do every day.
Okay. Oh, I love it. That's hot. Okay. So so monetization, cash injection, and then do the other two. The other ones, personal.
My goodness, now you're going to make me remember what I just said.
Yeah, exactly. That's your
cash flow, client flow, which, and the client flow in some ways is, the lead generation, but then also visibility, because that's part of it. And also deadline driven.
Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah. And so where's that balance? Where do you do the balance of your life and business in there? Where's the prioritization of that?
So I usually recommend, I'm again, because I'm an early bird, I always do part of my like self-care time, if you will, prioritizing self-care time. I just do it in the morning. Like I have been an advocate of, working out or getting to the gym or whatever you want to do, but do it before your day starts. One, it's good for your body just to wake up and move about. I mean, and it doesn't even have to be big things. And that's one of the things that I teach with tiny habits. One of the habit strategies to start a new habit is to start tiny. And what that means is 60 seconds or less. And so, people that want to start getting into the mode, for example, of, maybe doing a little stretching or, getting out there. The reason that people fail at New Year's resolutions is because, oh, I'm going to go every day to the gym for half an hour. And I'm like, no, you're not, because that's not going to last. So instead, I recommend, okay, let's put the shoes on and walk to the refrigerator. That's a great 60-second habit, and let's just, and then here's the best part about a habit strategy. In order for it to solidify in your brain is you have to, and again, this comes back to almost those positive neural pathways.
Yeah.
You have to celebrate the fact that you did it. So you have to celebrate the fact that I tied my shoelaces and I walked down the hall. Now, did I actually get on the exercise bike? No, I didn't have time today, or no, I just didn't feel like it. In fact, one of the habits is sitting on the machine. I don't care if you move your feet, but if you sit on the machine, I want you to like stand up. I want you to do your little happy dance, pat yourself on that back, and celebrate that you did your habit. Because that is going to, that's the step, that's the habit before you do the next part of that habit stacking process, to actually just do 60 seconds where you start moving your feet.
Yeah.
So, and then if you do 5 minutes, you do 10 minutes, that's like just, the cherry on top.
Right. It's a habit, right? I just think about different habits that we all grew up doing called school.
Mm-hmm.
I remember,
right.
I'm sure there's a reason why here in America, and if you're listening overseas, you know what I'm talking about. In elementary, you're supposed to be there like at 7:15 or something like that. And then all of a sudden, when you're in junior high, your asses aren't going to be there till like 9. And then all of a sudden it jumps back up to like 7:30 for high school. And I was never understood that because, people have kids, they sometimes have kids in one age school. And I always thought that was weird that they had the junior high so late. You know what I mean? They said there's psychology around that because like they're in that phase anymore sleep. I'm like, forget that. Get their asses up, because it kind of makes them lazy. And then like it's challenging to go back up. Like what if everyone was just 7:30? I think first all moms would be cheering. First,
absolutely.
All moms would be like, yay, right? All moms and dads would be like, I love you. But I mean, also from a habit perspective, right? Then you're like 7:30. It's 7:30. Yeah. And then when you're older, it's just 7:30. I know for myself when I went into college, I thought I'm going to go and get 8:00 classes.
That's funny.
That's hilarious. So I did my first semester, barely made it. A few times actually showed up in my boxing shorts and a hat. Like, I'm like, what's up? I am here. Because it's 8 and it's college. And beer at night, Yeah. And you're not going, oh, no, I can't have that beer. I got to get up early. Right? You're 19. You're like, right? You're 19, you're 20. I'm like, what's up? You don't think that stuff through. That's college is those years where you figure out if I drink late, I can't get up. Right? It's this aha moment when you figure that out. You're like, there's a connection there. I can figure it out. Let me see that connection. Now when you're older, you're like, whoa, it's 8. I got to go to bed. Right? You're like, it's 8:00. Woo! I got to get up at 6. But I mean, when you're 19, you don't make the connection called drink and hangover.
Oh, yeah.
You don't make that, like, no one tells you. There's like not in your brain, you're like, oh, I'm figuring this out. So my point is the habits. I think it would help as we get older to have those years of elementary and all that of like 7:30. I mean, who created 9:00 work anyway? Like, I don't even understand that one either. That's my personal opinion. I think there's ebb and flow. I think everyone has a different flow. A friend of mine, he works really well at night. Like that's his thing, so he gets up later, like 9, 10, 11, works out and then starts to work. And that works for him. I've never been good at the like 9 to 5 thing. It's just not my thing either. I work out in the middle of the day. I come home from the workout and then I work in the evening. It's just easier for me. So I think it's also ebb and flow, but whatever works for you, stick with it. I think that's
absolutely. And for people that are there, I mean, if you're not a morning person, that's one of the things when people, make these resolutions, and that's why, again, it sets them up to fail, is if they're not a morning person, they're not a morning person. It's not going to change overnight. Now, that's not to say that you can't take steps to modify things, but it's not going to be easy, and it's not necessarily what's best for them. And so, creating
I think what I mean to say real quick, I think just because our society says 9 to 5,
yeah,
right, doesn't mean that's good for you.
Absolutely.
Find what's good for you. It might be really early morning and you get started at 7 and done at 3. I mean, or whatever that works for you. But just because our society has thing called work culture called 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, I just don't think that has to be laid upon every single person.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, the other thing about, whether I think you have to recognize where you need to put in your self-care, and it doesn't necessarily have to be in the morning. I mean, that's what I do. It might be like you're in the middle of the day, as far as going out and working out, and everybody's quote self-care items are different. So the whole point when you're putting in tiny habits to make some shifts is when you celebrate the fact that you, in fact, and if you need to add that extra little reminder, don't think that you have to just, well, I'm going to just, get out of the shower, dry off, and get on my clothes, tie my shoelaces, and walk to the exercise machine. If you need something that is a little bit more of a reminder, then, I'm a big Post-it note fan. I have Post-it notes everywhere because, let's just be honest, I'm getting old and my memory is getting worse. So
I'm a Post-it note girl too. We got you. It's okay.
So, I put a Post-it note on, I tell people use a Post-it note to trigger that new habit that you want to create. So if you need to put a Post-it note on the bathroom mirror, I'm a big fan of Post-it notes on the bathroom mirror. And by the way, Amazon sent me as a gift, which I don't know if that's a good sign because I must order too much stuff from Amazon. These Post-it notes that are now like this industrial strength, like snow and in the rain, and they'll stick in your shower. I kid you not. They
really?
Yeah. Anyway, side note.
That's actually interesting. Yeah, because sometimes in the bathroom, the mirrors get wet.
Moisture, right?
And then they fall off. So I'm not a big Post-it note in the bathroom because my bathroom's kind of small. So it does.
I got you covered now.
Okay, you got me all right. That's really cool. It's like an industrial glue that just. And I think about it. Well, M3 is here in Austin. That M3 is a glue.
Yeah.
Well, they used to anyway. And then Whole Foods, which is the headquarters is down the street from Amazon.
Awesome. That's a good one to have.
I wonder if it's in there. Like, hey, what do you got going? Yeah, it's kind of weird having Whole Foods and Amazon. Like, it's very strange. It's very strange. Very strange. Even the people that work there, they're like, we don't know. We don't know who we own by. We don't get it. We don't know. We don't know. We get our checks from Amazon, but no one tells us anything. I'm like, okay. So anyway, I love this. This has really been really great. And where can people find you or free gifts that you have for them?
Sure, absolutely. So you can find me at happinessmatters.com. And of course, I'm on, I do Facebook Lives so people can get little nuggets of training like what we've talked about today every Friday. And you can sign up for that at happinessmatters.com/FB Live.
FB Live. Oh, nice. I might sign up for that. That's cool. Because I just need a spring of happiness in my life.
Yeah. And I'm kind of, my Facebook Lives, I just ham it up. So
I bet you are. You're like the happy girl. So like, that's a good one for Have a Friday. Like, happy Friday. Yeah.
That's right. In fact, usually I go live on my personal page and I'm drinking my coffee with my chickens outside.
Oh, nice. Nice. So it's the chickens and the coffee. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, we don't have that here in Austin. We have scooters. So I'd be like, and there's a scooter getting botched. I don't even know what I'm talking about, but they're like huge here. So, all right. So thank you so much for having me. Tell me the website one more time for everybody.
It's happinessmatters.com.
By the way, I just said thank you for having me. You didn't have me. I had you. So thank you for coming here. I really appreciate your time, energy, effort. Go check it out at happinessmatters.com. My name is Heather Havenwood. Check us out at heatherhavenwood.com. We're also now on Pandora, Spotify, iHeart, Google Play, Roku as well. And again, that's Heather Havenwood. Like me on Instagram, that's where I'm really at. You can DM me there if you want to at Heather Havenwood. And all right, this is Be You, Be Real, Be the Boss of Your Life, helping you find the love of your life. Bye.